US to buy India's indigenously developed LCA Tejas jet for the US Navy, and India to make another surgical strike on Pakistan military. In response to the US Navy's request for the information, or the RFI, for its undergraduate jet training systems, India had sent a detailed project plan that enables the LIFT-LCA Tejas Jet to mimic almost all types of fighter jets, from cockpit display to the control performance reported by the Economic Times of India. The state-run Hindustan Aeronautics Ltd, or the Hall of India, has developed a fighter jet. The US Navy had begun a global search for the new jet trainer earlier this year to replace its Boeing T-45 Goshawk fleet. Getting a good jet trainer is much important as a combat jet, as it helps towards a real-time combat situations. According to the RFI, the service is looking for a non-developmental land-based jet trainer suitable for all field carrier landing practices and nuclear aircraft carrier touch-and-go landings. The aircraft should be available by 2028 or sooner, said the RFI. Earlier, the defense news platforms had speculated Boeing's Saab T-7A, Lockheed Martin's T-50A, and Leonard's T-100 as likely competitors for the US Navy's next-generation trainer program. However, the chairperson of the India's HAL, R. Madhavan, had said to Economic Times that the same platform can be used to mimic any other platform. He said they just need to put in flying characteristics and change the things to the selected aircraft. The LCA Lift was built on LCA Tejas platform. It is a fighter trainer which will help the pilots in flying modern aircraft like Rafale and Su-30 Mki. India's offer is based on the LCA Mk1A. LCA Mk1A has more capabilities than the earlier version of the Tejas, enhancing the combat ability through the incorporation of the active electronically scanned array radar, electronic warfare suite, and beyond visual range missiles. The Indian Air Force has placed an order of 83 LCA Mk1A for its Indian Air Force, but since the US Navy needs the jet for the training purposes, the news report claims that the aircraft being offered brings in inexperience gained by the HAL from the naval version of the LCA of India, which has successfully demonstrated operation from an aircraft carrier. The naval version of the LCA earlier this year successfully took off and landed on the deck of the aircraft carrier INS Vikramaditya in the Arabian Sea of India. Meanwhile, in the light of the tense situation in the border, the Pakistani media has started speculating that India might be preparing for another surgical strike on Pakistan. According to the Karachi-based news outlet Dawn, Pakistan has put its troops on high alert after its intelligence agency learned that India is looking to mount a surgical strike on the Islamic nation Pakistan. While speaking about the LCA Tejas for the US Navy, India has said a demonstrator will be produced only when the US Navy will go ahead with the selection process and shortlist it for the next step. The media report claims that the LCA meets all the basic parameters required by the US Navy, such as the capability of the field carrier landing practices and carrier touch-and-go events. The US and RAF also mentions that the aircraft should be capable of integrating the advanced technologies, such as the precision landing mode, which is used to help land the Boeing FA-18 Super Hornet on the aircraft carriers. It also wants the trainer to have an automatic ground collision avoidance system. The US Navy wants to conduct field carrier landing practices at an annual rate of 1,200 per aircraft. It also expects the next generation trainer to fly 400 hours per year and perform carrier touch-and-go landings 45 times per year. Well, the Pakistani news agency Dawn claims that India is planning a false flag operation against Pakistan to divert the world's attention from the host of its internal issues. Citing the highly credible sources, Pakistani media outlet Tribune on Friday reported that the Pakistani force have been clearly instructed to respond to any misadventure from India. Meanwhile, according to the military sources, the Indian side has rubbished all the claims by stating that they have no plans for another surgical strike, indicating that the reports are part of Pakistani's propaganda. So what do you think of US Navy is trying to buy India's LCA Tejas, and India is in the process of making a surgical strike on Pakistan's military? Indian Navy and the Indian Air Force conducting massive drills and holding a large meeting on the next step against China in the Ladakh and the Andaman Nicobar Island regions. Indian government connects 7 Chinese firms linked with Chinese military. Indian Air Force to conduct 2-day commander-level meeting to discuss the deployment of the advanced Rafale jets, which is coming this month of July 2020. As India's defense minister said, the talks are not guaranteed for peace. As of now, China refusing to leave the East Ladakh region of India. Air Force have deployed an entire fleet of most advanced jets of Mirage 2000, Su-30, MiG-29 along the China-India border. To add strength to the Indian Air Force, India gets the Rafale jets in few days' time. It has long-range air-to-air defense systems, which will be a bigger boost for the Indian Air Force against China and Pakistan. Along with the Indian Air Force, the Indian Navy conducts a massive military drill in the Andaman and Nicobar Islands near the Malacca Strait. The drill includes the Indian Navy battleships, frigates, submarines and destroyer ships. Already the US Navy is conducting a massive military Navy drill in the South China Sea with USS Nimitz and USS Ronald Reagan aircraft carrier in a rare dual drill. Also, India has sent its Eastern Naval Fleet Rear Admiral Sanjay Vatsayan and the battleships along with it to the Malacca Strait region. When US Navy conducting a massive drill, India too now joined them, which indirectly both countries giving a big message to China. As Andaman and Nicobar Islands has all 3 military services of India, one of the former Indian ambassadors said in his policy brief, India should open up the islands of Andaman and Nicobar to the friendly navies countries such as the US, Australia, Japan and France. Some analysis wants the Quad headquarters to be set up in the islands. Indian government has identified 7 of the many Chinese companies in India are allegedly or directly or indirectly having the connections with the PLA or the Chinese military. The companies includes big names like Alibaba, Tencent, Huawei and India Steel Limited. The 2018 study already found that the startups of India are controlled by the Chinese investments in the category of social media, e-commerce and content making. Indian government is yet to decide what to do about the Chinese companies having a link with the Chinese military. So what do you think of Indian Air Force and the Navy conducting a massive drill along with the US Navy against China? Can India stop the Chinese companies' investments from investing in India?